So where did it go wrong for Algeria? This doesn't feel like the AFCON in Cameroon, the AFCON 2021, when I have to say it was a complete and utter diabolical mess, a shambolic disaster. This is not what happened. This was not a disaster. I mean, it's a disaster we've gone out and come last, but it's completely different to what happened in Cameroon. I genuinely do have some sympathy for the staff and the players because we didn't play that bad. We had more possession than any other side in the group stage. We had the most possession FC. The thing I have a problem with is I don't think we have the players who are possession-based stars. Like, Mandy is comfortable as a defender with his feet. Zarouki prefers the ball to feet rather than tackling people. But counter-attack has always been Algeria's best style in the past few years. The final we won, we scored with that Baghdad goal early, and then we literally sat back and countered for the rest of the game. That, to me, is our strength. The Senegal friendly, again, a few months ago when Shaibi scored, we played on the counter for the majority of that game. The Egypt game, we were playing on the counter until the red card, and it changed it. I think we have the quick, dynamic, dribbly, pacey, skillful players to be a team on the counter or play for a set piece, like you saw the headers we scored in the warm-ups and in a couple of the games. For us, for Algeria to have 80% of the ball, I don't think that's our game. 80% with players like, I mean, look at the players that are having the ball. I don't get it. I think the system was wrong, but the tournament was in a disaster because when you have 80% of the ball, it means the opponent only has it for 20% of the time, which is, I mean, do the maths. It's what, 14 minutes, 18 minutes. You expect to be limited in what you concede, but Algeria scored 3 and conceded 4. So how did we get there? So the first game, we played Angola. I'm sure 99% of people would agree that first half was incredible. Should have been more than 1-0 up. We had 3 points at half time. In the first game, if you look at the clock, the table at half time, game 1, we had 3 points. 2.5 halves later, we had 2 points. So what on earth happened? Well, listen, Baghdad, amazing, amazing goal. Even the first goal. Bicycle kick is one of the best disallowed goals you will ever see, but it is offside. And then second half, Ben Taleb mistake. It's an individual error, it's 1-1. Now that point, it's not the end of the world. I mean, look at that Angola team. They went on to win the group and win the last 2. Not a bad point. And we made Angola look very ordinary. We just weren't clinical, and Ben Taleb made an individual error. Second game, against the best team in the group, out of the 3. Burkina Faso. They're a good side. Again, we drew. Look how many teams drew the first 2 games. It's not bad. We were unbeaten after 2 games, and we played Angola and Burkina Faso, who are better than Mauritania. We got 2 points, 2 draws, didn't lose either of them. I was fine with that. We showed fight in the game to come back twice, but again, Mandy didn't step up from the first goal, which made it just about onside, and then again, Ait-Nouri, an individual error. So what can you do? Individual mistakes, we're unlucky. Baghdad saves us, but we deserved at least a point. We didn't deserve to lose. So far so good, because despite the individual errors, we've got 2 games against the 2 tougher opponents, we've got 2 draws, we haven't lost, and that was telling because in the last game, we didn't even need to win it in the end. We just had to draw to Mauritania, and we would have had Cape Verde. We just had to draw the game. Something changed when that happened, because the fact that we didn't need to win anymore meant that Mauritania could win and go through, because they were looking like they were going to be out. And then the big hoo-ha happened where Ivory Coast lost 4-0, Ghana went out, it opened up the 3rd spot. So Mauritania suddenly had something to play for. Algeria suddenly can play for a draw. It must have changed the dynamic, guys. Now, Belmadi made all those changes. He put the players in that the people wanted to see. But you have to say it was a mistake because it didn't work. That's the game where the people's team played, with no Mahrez, with no Belali, we lost. And again, 80% of the ball, but fine margins. The Badawi shot. Issa Mandi, people talking about how much of a hero and a legend he is. He was a captain because Mahrez didn't play. And you see the difference in leadership compared to when Mahrez is playing. Mandy, the only one that talked to the press afterwards, the only one that went over to the fans afterwards. In fact, the 2 big chances in the second half fell to Issa Mandi. The reason we didn't score those 2 big, huge chances was because they fell to Issa Mandi. You do not want a centre-back there. You want Adam Nurse and Moura Awar Bounedjah Belali there. The first one, which Niasse saves, is incredible. The one with the cross and he hits it from 1 yard out. And then the one added time is unlucky. But the fact that he's even getting up there, that's why Mauritania were getting through on goal so many times in that second half. Because we had to push up, and Mandy took it upon himself to get up in the box. He was up so many times. That's why it seemed like Mauritania had so much space. So it was unlucky, and another day the Mandy shot goes in, we're still in the competition. That is ultimately what it comes down to. Mauritania have the space in the attack for them because our defence is pushing up. Mandy's basically playing up front as well. It is what it is. But to lose to Mauritania, it should not be happening, especially when you need a draw. And ultimately, if you started Mahrez, Belali and Baghdad, it may well have been different. 80% of the ball, and to not do anything with it, it's a shame. Look, we had the most possession out of anyone. We had Bounedjah, one of the top scorers in the competition, 3 goals in 3 games. And a disallowed goal as well, which was class. It just feels like sometimes we're unlucky. And then of course you've got some of the big VAR calls again. A big VAR call got Burkina Faso the win against Mauritania, got them a point against us, got Angola a point against us. Baghdad gets wrestled, Slimani gets wrestled. VAR doesn't seem to work for us. It's not an excuse. It is a excuse for sure. But we have to say that we shouldn't be getting bailed out by a VAR, but it should be working for us. But at the same time, we shouldn't be needing VAR to beat this level of opposition. So it's sad. I don't feel it was a complete disaster like Cameroon. I just think sometimes you've got to say unlucky. We only lost 1 game. 2-2 against Burkina Faso is not a poor result. We will see the proof in the pudding as to when Faso, Angola and Mauritania all are finally out. But yeah, it's just such a weird moment when you think about the first half time against Angola, sitting on 3 points, 1-0 up. Where did it all go wrong? If Bentala doesn't kick anyone, are we sitting on 9 points? If only Allah knows, but there we are. So the post-mortem will begin, and I'm sure people will begin to dissect how and where it went wrong at this tournament. Where do you think it went wrong for Algeria at this AFCON? Why don't you tell me in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.